All right, Allison, if you want to go ahead and get started.
Thank you. Welcome everyone to our arts advocacy training today. And we hope that you'll be able to come down to the Missouri Arts Advocacy Week, February 6th through the 10th. And I want to thank Caitlin and Kyna for being here and organizing this and all the board members that helped. MCA is a nonpartisan statewide grassroots organization, and we are a 501c4. And so we are governed by a board of directors. And what we do is that we advocate for stable funding in the state of Missouri for the arts. And I want to thank our board of directors. As you can see, they're from all over the state, and we appreciate that. And we also have members and corporations that are members from all over the state. So thank you to our board of directors. And also thank you to our sponsors. That's been very important. And so we thank you. And now I'm going to turn it over to Kyna.
All right, thanks, Allison. Thanks everybody for hopping on today. I just burnt the highway up from Jefferson City to get back to St. Louis to get my reports out. It was a busy week in Jefferson City, so we're gonna kick right off and let you know what's going on down there. So Caitlin. I know a lot of you wonder, why am I on this call? Why should I even get involved? Well, as you know, I preach it, advocacy every day. Things can change in the legislature by just one vote. And the arts are often one of the first ones on those chopping blocks. And so we want to create a more friendly environment in Jefferson City to help protect our arts industry in the state. I'm not going to go through how a bill becomes law, if you can read this, but I will tell you the budget process kicked off yesterday with the governor's budget recommendations. And our legislation is in House Bill 12, and that bill will be introduced, and we are already starting to see committee assignments being made, and those hearings should start in the next 2 weeks. So that's kind of how the legislative process starts. There's 163 members in the House. This year, there were 47 new state reps elected to the House and 8 new senators elected to the Senate. And so as you can imagine, a lot of them come in not even realizing what funding for the arts means. So that's why you're here today, to help us connect with those folks. So how do we shape this process? Of course, through advocacy. Missouri Citizens for the Arts is always letting people know, a lot of people that say they're a 501c that they can't advocate. That is not correct under IRS regulations. As long as you're not spending more than, say, 25% of your budget on advocating or hiring a lobbyist like myself, you can advocate. You can let your legislators know what you're doing, especially if you're receiving state funds from Missouri Arts Councils. It's actually your duty to stand up and let them know. It's just some common sense issues on how do you effectively advocate. It's like a sales pitch. Be polite. Always know what your issue is and have a specific ask. That if you don't take anything away from the meeting today, just please remember, when you're talking to your legislator before you leave, make sure you ask, can I count on your vote for funding for the Missouri Arts Council? So I know this is a lot to take in. Caitlin's going to be sending this out to everybody. This is MCA's advocacy agenda. But our number one priority is, of course, getting you funding. And how can we do that? We collect funding through a non-resident professional athlete and entertainers tax. And that's collected from performers and professional athletes when they come to Missouri to perform or to play at Arrowhead Stadium or Cardinal Busch Stadium. Those funds are collected and put into this fund. By state statute, we are supposed to be getting 60% of that. Unfortunately, we have not received the full amount of the A&E tax, but last year we did receive 6.7 million, which was a 40% increase over what we had been getting. So we are trying to get that ratcheted up to the 19.8 million for the Missouri Cultural Trust Fund. And I'm going to come back and answer questions on these later. So that's kind of why I'm rushing through some of these slides. Kaylin. I think, yeah, here we go. So one of the other issues, in addition to the Missouri Arts Council funding that we've been actively advocating for is the film and music tax credits. And those are bills that have been introduced this year. Actually, the Show Me Film tax credit bill in the House is House Bill 675, if you want to make note of that. And Senate Bill 94, sponsored by Denny Hoskins in the Senate, if you want to take note of that. And I'll type those in the chat real quick. If you guys have seen Tulsa King, that is supposed to be, was supposed to be Kansas City King. But because Oklahoma is giving out a ton of film tax credits, they went to Oklahoma to file that bill. So we're hoping to get some funding next year in the budget for tax credits for film. So next one, hold on, get your 94 Hoskins. As you know, we also advocate for the Missouri Fine Arts Academy, which is a fabulous program for high school students that are talented in the arts. Last year, we were able to successfully get full funding of $750,000 in the budget. So none of the students that are going to the academies this summer will have to pay tuition. We've requested $850,000 for next year's academy, only because the cost of meals and the cost of rooms have gone up. Unfortunately, yesterday, the governor only recommended $500,000 in that budget line item. So we are going to have to work hard to get some money added to that budget as well. And then capital improvements projects, we're always in support of any arts facilities that are looking to improve your roof, your parking lot, whatever capital improvement projects for arts facilities in Missouri, we support that as well. So let me back up on the, and you don't have to back up, Kaylin, on the Missouri Arts Council's budget though, where I said our core is 6.7 million. The governor yesterday did recommend the $6.7 million funding. We call that flat funding. We are going to try to get an increase in that budget line item as well. We are housed in House Bill 12, which is under the governor's, lieutenant governor's budget. And the Missouri Fine Arts Academy is housed in House Bill 2, which is the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education's budget. And we'll have that information added to those advocacy agendas when we send those out. So mainly, if you're trying to find out who your legislator is, there's a couple of links here. Please do your homework, look up who your legislator is. It doesn't help if you are trying to persuade someone that possibly lives in another area that has no idea of what you're doing with your funding. But if you are trying to contact your state rep or your state senator, where they can see the funding being spent in their backyard, that is a world of difference. So check out that legislative lookup site to find out who your state rep and who your state senator is. It will also give you links to what committees they're on, what bills they've introduced, and that gives you a little more background when you get ready to go in and talk to them, what they like. Don't discredit the staff. They're very, very important. As a matter of fact, that's how I get my foot in the door, by knowing every staff member in the Capitol as well. So they're very important. Like I said earlier, legislators want to hear what's happening with the arts funding in their district. And if you don't know an answer or don't have a bill number, not a problem. Just tell them that, we'll get back with you and make sure that I get those questions, and I'll be sure to follow up with them. But yeah, we need your advocacy. So this morning I was already talking to some people that are working for the Missouri Fine Arts Academy funding on what's the best way to make contact. Still sending them a letter, or if you know them personally, sending them a text or an email. I am not a fan of blast emails because they're so easy. And actually this year, the Senate, if you try to send like just a blanket set of emails, you will get a bounce back. So I always encourage people to put in the email list, I live in your district, or I vote in District 22, or I am a constituent in your county. And then follow up and set up a face-to-face meeting. That's the best. If you can't come to Jefferson City on February the 8th, not a problem. Most of the legislators are back in the district on Fridays or Monday mornings. And Caitlin's going to have some other information on Advocacy Week for you after this. And we also will have some information. Caitlin's going to show you how to sign up for our MCA Adopt a Legislator, or two, she said. We do have some spots in the state where we need help, that if you can reach out and take a couple, that would be great. And just develop that relationship with your legislators. I've been working up there for over 30 years, and I love it when they come up to me and say, I got the nicest thank you note from one of your clients. We never get thank you notes. And so don't discredit that, and make sure you give them credit where credit's due. All right. And don't forget to vote. We just came off an election year. We do have some great people that are coming in. I've been getting to know them the last couple of weeks since the inauguration. And but we've got a lot to do. There's a lot of really conservative folks. But I know everyone in their heart loves the arts, right? We have a great product to sell, whether they're listening to the radio on their way to the Capitol, or if their kids are in the band at home, or if they attend community theater in their district. There's always a hot button you can find that they like the arts. So get to know them, get them to know the arts.
All right. So
I'm going to toss it back over to Caitlin. I think you've got the next slide.
Yeah. So here's just a few things you can follow up with after this training. We do have the Adopt a Legislator program, which has been sent out and will be sent out after this meeting as well. And so I'll show a quick demo next about how to sign up for one of those legislators, or 2 or 3, like we said previously. And, after this meeting, make plans to contact your legislators, sign up, ask them to meet with you on February 8th, or, organize some sort of Zoom call or in-district meeting. Any of those things would be good. And now is the time to get those set up for Advocacy Week. You can also review our agenda, which is going to be sent out in our toolkit, but also is accessible on our website as well. And you can just take those materials and kind of get your elevator speech ready for when you're able to talk to legislators on Advocacy Day or in Advocacy Week. You can also, as you're advocating, share it on social media. Make sure you are liking Missouri Citizens for the Arts posts and sharing them. We put a lot of great action alerts and things like that throughout session on our social media. And we always like engagement, and we can even share those with legislators too. And make sure you stay in touch after Advocacy Day, and especially with those legislators you've adopted. Here are also some resources that we have. That's our website and an email contact, Kyna's email. and then some additional sites throughout the state that you can kind of access, and as well as Americans for the Arts, which gives more national updates. I will be sending out this recording of our meeting today and the slideshow as well, so you will be able to access this after. Here is our Adopt a Legislator, so I'll just pull that up for us. It is a sign up genius, so it's really easy. You can simply check off which legislator you'd like to adopt and then hit save and continue, add in your name, and that's as simple as it is. You've adopted those legislators. And then we just encourage you to continue connecting with them throughout session if you have adopted them. Also wanted to share our advocacy toolkit. You might have seen this emailed out, but just really quickly, it's a great resource for Advocacy Week that we've provided. It includes our schedule that's going to show different registration links and the dates that we have upcoming. Also includes some fun advocacy tips, and our agenda is included in there as well as our member organizations, which we really appreciate and help to continue our efforts in the state. So these are some of those upcoming events that we have. The second is going to be a St. Louis area in-person training. So if you are in the St. Louis area, you can attend that at 4 p.m. at St. Louis Shakespeare Festival. On February 6th, which is the first day of Advocacy Week, we're going to do a live kickoff at 11:30 on Facebook. So you can just tune into our Facebook account and view our live kickoff. We'll have some fun inspiration to get Advocacy Week started. And then February 8th, like we've been saying, is our day at the Capitol. You can come join us at 10, and we'll start our briefing at 10:30 and then head over to the Capitol around 11:30. We will also... Yeah.
Can I interrupt right there? I've had several questions on regional lunches, and I know they're not as popular as they used to be prior to COVID because the state law has changed where we can't actually buy our legislators lunch anymore or pay anything. So a lot of the groups are deciding not to do the regional lunches for just even our arts advocates. But I just want to let everybody know there's a huge cafeteria in the Truman State Office building. If you guys want to stay there after the briefing and grab a quick bite before you head over to the Capitol, that's an option, just in case you're freaking out on where you're going to go to lunch that day.
Thank you.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah. And then at 2 p.m. that day, the Missouri Arts Council Awards will be in the Capitol Rotunda. And then again, if you're not able to make it to Advocacy Day, that's okay. We're just encouraging you to connect with your legislators the rest of Advocacy Week, so that all of our state legislators can have some contact about the arts. And I just want to do a brief shout out to our members that we have. We really appreciate our members from all around the state. They really help us to continue these efforts throughout session. And if you would like to join, you can do so on our website, moforarts.org. Under the Join Us tab, there's a way to join online or via mail.
Caitlin, I think you're frozen.
Yeah. I think we lost Kate.
My bad.
Allison, do you want to take over? You're muted, Allison.
Okay, these are all the members of our organization, and anyone can become a member.
Raise your hand.
Yeah.
They can see you.
Rookie. Okay, Caitlin's back. And Rookie, you had a question. I see Jeffrey Kaplan. Okay, Jeffrey Kaplan, can you guys talk?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
No
Okay, hi,
question.
Kyna.
Whoop.
Hi, Kyna. No question, just applause. This was just thank you for doing this.
Okay, thank you. Thank you guys for joining. All right.
Okay, hi, Kyna. I have two questions. First of all, I miss you. Second of all, there was something in the text that said fiscal year 24, there would be some changes. What does that mean?
So right now we are asking, our budget request is for fiscal year 24. That's what we're working on right now, which will start July 1st of this year, 2023, and go till June 30th, 2024. So we're asking for an increase in funds for the Missouri Arts Council budget over and above the 6.7 million that the governor recommended.
And what are we asking for?
Well, we'd like to have that full 60%. This is always the bone of contention, like, oh yeah, right, they're gonna go from 6.7 million to 19 million overnight.
Right.
That's not gonna happen, but 40% increase that we got last year,
Okay.
you know, almost a $2 million increase really helped increase 40% to your grants.
So we should specifically ask for 9 million. That would be kind of almost another 40%.
So what I've always told people is start that conversation with your legislator and see, let them kind of, you know, it's a negotiation. It's like, what are you comfortable with?
That's a great.
And explain
great
to
thing,
them
yeah.
what kind of increases you need within your budget and how that could weigh into the budget if they get those increases. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I love the idea of asking the legislator what their opinion is
Right.
for the amount of increase, knowing that we must have an increase. What
And
should
that
it
kind
be?
of draws them into
Yeah,
the
right.
conversation where they feel like they have some buy-in then.
Right, great idea.
And bring it home, like, because just looking at these numbers on a page, I mean, let's all face it, millions of dollars kind of rattle your brain. But if you can say, but here in, you know, my hometown, if I had, you know, 40% increase, we could do another performance, or we could do this, or, you know, just bring it home.
Well, I'm pointing out the difference between 6.7 million and whatever the real number is supposed to be, 19 million. That is a great thing for us to point out. Also, you said that House Bill number 12 is our bill. What does that mean?
So that is, so our budget Missouri Arts Council budget got moved out of Department of Economic Development several years ago, and now we're under the Lieutenant Governor's budget. And so you don't have to get into the details of that. It's just some of these new ones may ask, what budget are you under? Just say we're under the Lieutenant Governor's budget.
Okay, well, I think it's really important, especially with new legislators, to consider ourselves educators, so that we go and tell them. They don't even know about that A&E tax thing, you know. Right. So when we've done it in the past, a lot of them have been really surprised that there even was some, you know, some way to advocate. So I think the more detailed information we take, the better, because it's to educate them.
Remember, that is an income tax, just like you and I pay. It's just an income tax paid by out-of-state folks, non-resident Missourians that pay in the state.
They love that word, out of, that term, out of state.
We're taking money from
right.
Petrazan from Nebraska. We'll take her money.
Right.
All right, Diane.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I thank you also for doing this. My question is, my particular, well, in this room, I'm advocating for Opera Theater as advocacy chair for them. And so, but I don't live where Opera Theater is. So my rep is Peter Meredith, and he is,
you get an easy one.
He's all in. So my question is, what I was thinking of contacting other reps. We're trying to reach more zip codes in the St. Louis area. Do you think that that's effective, even though they are not, I'm not one of their people?
Yes, very good question, Diane. And that goes back, I know, Patty, you're with the symphony, because your audience is a regional draw. You're not, I mean, I think when we ran the zip codes on some of the organizations, you're not just Webster Groves, where the rep or Opera Theater is sitting, you're all a collection of all around there. So yes, and we desperately, like the sign up genius that Caitlin was talking about on Adopt a Legislator, Those are usually the legislators that we have the biggest gaps in finding people in. They are in the suburban areas or like Jefferson County, south of St. Louis. We're getting a lot more advocates in St. Charles County. But like for those of you in Kansas City, like Eastern Jackson County or Platte, even though that's not that Peter Merida's district, I mean, talk to those folks around there because it is a regional issue. The arts don't stop at a district line or a county line. So good question.
Okay.
Are you leaving me, Patty? Or do you have
Hi,
another
hi,
question?
Kyna. I have another one. This one's really very demanding and not fair. But I remember speaking with, I think her name is Marianne Coleman. She it was elected. I don't know if she's still
Mary Elizabeth. So
Mary
she
Elizabeth.
just moved to the Senate.
Okay, Mary Elizabeth Coleman. And she had a list, maybe pictures of the legislators, and she started circling for me who the influential legislators were. That would be another good tool for us to have, is who are the actual the movers and shakers.
So that's a good point. When I talk to you individually, I can give you those. I don't want to, but what we will be sending out, the Speaker of the House and the President Pro Tem of the Senate just appointed new committees because after election year, all those committees switch up. And so we will be sending who is on those committees out. Here, actually, I was just looking at our House Appropriations Committee for the Lieutenant Governor's budget is Scott Cupps. And I'm sure no one on this call even knows who he is. He's a cattle farmer from Southwest Missouri, very conservative. And we are going to have our hands full with trying to get budget, even flat budget funding out of him. But the good news is Lewis Riggs is the vice chair from Hannibal. And if you guys know Lewis, he used to be chair of Humanities Council, and he's been on Missouri Citizens for the Arts Board for a couple of years. So I'll send that out. That's another good question, though. We will get those leaders and the key people that you should be talking to. So Evie, did you have a question?
Yes, thanks. I just wanted, Caitlin, if your internet connection is back in good before we get off, and maybe it's just me that missed this, but if you could just let us know what we'll get, what we might have to distribute to folks when we get down to the Capitol, and then where we go to make sure we can sign up for Adopt a Legislator. And just to add to that discussion on talking to our legislators about what seems on, but when you ask it like a big increase, I have literally never found a legislator, well, I can't remember I ever had, even among the most conservative, that when you indicate that it's in the statute, and as you say, so for folks like us from Kansas, you're going to be getting money from me to go there. I really, across every partisan and ideological spectrum, had folks say it just seems fair. So I'm glad we brought that up.
Yeah, I can go ahead and share what will go out. So after this meeting, everyone will be sent the recording as well as the slideshow. And then I'll also include the links needed to adopt a legislator, sign up and register for Advocacy Day, and a few more links. You can also find those on our website, moforarts.org as well. And then as we get to the Capitol, we'll have some different materials available too for Advocacy Day. So we'll have a flyer that can go to legislators as well as MAC grant listings that we've had for many years that have been really helpful for us. So we will provide that for your meetings at the Capitol on Advocacy Day too.
And Nicole, I see you on, do you want to give for the St. Louis folks that are on, information about the bus?
Yes, we will. And we actually are at 41 people going to Jefferson City. We do have on our website at the Regional Arts Commission in our news about our arts advocacy trip. And so if you're wanting to get a nice little ride up there, you can. We've got a 50 passenger bus. And so we're going to try to cap it at 50 and also provide masks. I know that there's been some concern about having that many people on a bus and those who are immune compromised. So But yeah, we're really excited. We're getting a whole group of people up there.
Great. And I don't see Brandon or Dana on from Kansas City Arts KC. I think Evie, aren't they doing a bus as well from?
Yes, Arts KC is organizing a bus. They sent an email out earlier in the week, and shout out to some of my our Kansas City colleagues on the line. Glad to see you all there. So they're doing a regular bus, so my assumption would be that we'll be about the same numbers. Nicole, not that there's any rivalry on the two sides of the state. I would never, ever, ever say that. But unless I knew where you went to high school. But
Colorado Springs, Colorado. So Cheyenne, I'm out of the state.
But you're safe on that. So we should have a group going. Thank you.
So we'll get that information on the buses, and Vicky and Carol, I know, will be bringing in the crowd from the Boot Hill down there. Stephanie, you're with MACA. Any other community arts agencies bringing a bus? I think Leslie may be bringing some students from Springfield, and I know Heidi Cook and Aaron Fine are bringing some students from Truman State this year and the great Northeast. So we're trying to make sure we've got the state covered.
I haven't heard anything about other ones in the Northeast area, but I'm sorry, I'm not on camera. I'm just trying to be here for it. But yeah, I haven't heard anything.
Stephanie has triplets at home. That's fine. Thank you for joining us. Okay, any other questions about Advocacy Day? Or Ed, you got a question?
I do have a question. So I'm new to this whole process, so I really appreciate that you have this. You're having this,
Thanks
and
for joining us.
so this question may be either naive or mercenary or both. But I get the sense from reading the materials that we're there to advocate on behalf of all of our fellow arts organizations across the state. But do we also advocate for funding for our own organizations?
Yes, yeah. I mean, we like you to bring, especially if you're currently getting funding from Missouri Arts Council, to feel free to bring some handouts about your schedule of, if you have a theater.
I'm with the opera. Lyric Opera of Kansas City.
Okay.
And yes, I will have material.
That's right.
I will have materials that I am planning to bring. But I just wondered how specific is this? I know they or their staffs won't have that much time. But I just want to be prepared for anything.
Yeah. Years ago, they used to say, oh my gosh, you can't talk about your own group, just keep it to Missouri Arts Council. I am not like that at all. I think the more information you can give them on what's going on in your backyard, but the arts are a collective group. So, the more money we can get in the budget, the more we can share with everybody. So It is kind of a collective effort, but yeah, feel free to let them know how that specifically impacts the group you're working with.
Well, we are intertwined. The symphony plays for our concerts. So,
exactly.
all the arts are intertwined in some way here, at least.
Yeah, and we will have some new economic development figures on the arts as a whole for the state, like how it's an economic driver, workforce development. There are a lot of different arguments, or I shouldn't say arguments, cases to be made for why you should support the arts. So that's where you just have to do that little bit of homework. I said, if it's if you're from an urban area, the workforce development really piece has a good point. How much money you're bringing back to the community. If you're more rural, I've found that festivals, just community arts programs, murals, things like that help build a community are probably more powerful with the outstate folks.
Kyna, this is Marie.
Hi, Marie.
Jump in? Hey, how are you?
Good.
Hey, I just wanted to really compliment Ed for his question there. We're getting a little bit of feedback. Someone might need to mute their.
I don't know where that's coming from.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, there we got it. So anyway, Ed, I just want to compliment you because that was just a really outstanding question. for two reasons. Number one, the obvious, that you're thinking about your organization, and we recognize that that's why people are getting involved. I mean, some people just love the arts and are advocates, but realistically, everyone is watching out for their organization, and that's essential. But I think, and kind of you said this, but I just wanted to jump in and reinforce, we're Missouri citizens for the arts. I'm in Columbia, but I want Ed, you to succeed in Kansas City. And I want Teresa in St. Joe to succeed. And I want Vicky down in Southeast Missouri to succeed. If we go down there and all we care about is our little piece of the pie, we lose. We lose collectively, because someday I might move to Kansas City. Someday my son might be living in Southeast Missouri. So we have to be, I mean, I'm totally, you can't see me because I went for a walk this morning and have a ball cap on, but I am right now standing on a what do you call those, the box that you get on when you're delivering a speech, because we have to be working together. We are all running our own little organizations. We don't have enough time, money, staff, but so we're totally focused on what we're doing. But we are missing out when we don't realize how essential it is for us all to be working together. And, I may not get everything that I want for Columbia, but I'm going to celebrate what Kansas City gets and Springfield and all these little towns. Lastly, and I bet Vicky can back me up on this a million times over. Vicky's currently serving on the Missouri Arts Council. I served a term on it, and kind of hit this just earlier about these small towns, everyone. All of these legislators matter, right? All of them matter. The big cities are so important. But holy moly, it is that small town community arts senator or representative that we can link in with the smallest of grant that is I mean, I'm not saying we should not give money to these places, but these are small grants making amazing differences in these small communities. And then those legislators, there, do the math, you all. There's way more that are outstate legislators than big cities. So if we are just focusing on the big city, we lose there too. And I'm almost off my soapbox. I remembered what it was. And that is, why are we doing this? We're doing this for the future, for my kids, for your kids, your grandkids. And if we don't get down there, I'm so thrilled that all these schools are coming. If we don't, I mean, we all need to hang up from this and get on the email and get on our phone and tell our friends and colleagues and board members and patrons and ticket season or season ticket holders, we need them. And if they can't come that day, please make a phone call. If they can't make a phone call, send an email. If that's not their thing, write a note. We have got to be organized as an industry because we are too inwardly focused on our own organizations, and we don't see the big picture. Now, the thing is, we all see that. So thank you, everyone, for being here. And now I am lowering my hand. I'll see you all in Jeff City. Bring your friends, your neighbors, and your postman or whoever else.
Thank you, Marie. She's spot on. All right. It looks like we've got a couple more hands up. Michael, Grayson, I'm going to go to you. So, Diane, I'll catch you next.
Thank you. With regard to Ed being in Kansas City, think about the fact that many of your patrons come from a state next to you. I found that the St. Louis Symphony has patrons, about 20% of their patrons are from out of Missouri. That's an economic impact because many of those patrons from across the river are spending money at restaurants and perhaps even hotels. So the fact that your organization is bringing in people from out of state to spend money in Missouri is something that has a real economic impact.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Michael. And that just goes to that point of economic development, how much that helps the state. Diane?
Well, I was going to reinforce that aspect of the whole thing. And so if the overall economic impact in the state of Missouri reinforces what Marie was saying and what Michael was saying too. And in Opera Theater's case, they kind of keep track of the, they have some monetary figures about economic impact, including the things that Michael was talking about. So those economic impact figures that you'll get from Allison, I guess she's sending out stuff like that, are really useful when you're talking with your people. That makes an impact no matter what conservative or liberal.
Yeah, our biggest problem has been some of those numbers really dipped during COVID. So trying to get the most current numbers back up. So we will have some new figures for you. I think, Allison, you've been meeting with Michael Donovan on that. But we'll get you what we've got. And then Rookie, oh, hold on. Rookie, I've been talking to some of your Kansas City Art Institute folks. Are they coming? Are they going to be able to join us as well?
Yeah, I think Gina is on the call here today.
Oh, okay. Oh, I do see Gina. Okay, great.
Hi, yes.
Gina, are you going to be able to rally the troops with the students?
Ruki and I are planning to attend, and right now we have 3 students signed up to go. We expect more. Our
Great.
semester starts next week, so we'll be rallying the troops there.
Great, great.
And I'm
Well, I
working with
didn't mean to
Brandon.
miss you when I was talking about all the students that are
Oh, no,
coming, so that's great.
That's okay. Thank you.
Okay. Evie?
Yeah, I just wanted to say for those of us who are coming from the larger urban areas, the reality still is that a lot of the important decision makers, important committee chairs are from outside of the urban area. So just the importance of establishing relationships with them. And right, for those of you coming down for the first time, I think the most important thing is just to get to know your legislators, period. You do that before you make any kind of an ask, right? You establish that relationship. And we've got some new folks in our area, and it's just going to be good to see them. And kind of wanted to ask, all the committee assignments now have been made, so we could find that out of our legislators in advance. And was there anything specific in the state of the state, which I didn't have a chance to listen to, that we need to know about?
The governor is requesting an $8.6 million, 8.6% increase for all state employees that he wants passed immediately. A lot of funding went into full funding for the foundation formula, transportation for schools, childcare is another large one. He put in $893 million to widen I-70, which could be a interesting bucket of funds. The problem is whenever the governor doesn't recommend like increases for you, now I have to go find other places in the budget to steal that money to put into our budget. But the good news is there's a lot of funding in the state right now. The budget is, I think, what did they say, $600 million flush in new money. Thank you, medical marijuana, and just the economy being good. So that's way better trying to steal money than in the years in the past where we've been $500 million in debt and they're like literally cutting every program. So I think it's very doable to get that funding moved over. We just have to find some buckets of money that we can use. So Nicole?
Oh, make sure I'm on mute. I'm curious if the reason why there's so much money going to infrastructure is because the World Cup is going to be, part of the World Cup is going to be played in Kansas City. Is that, will that have any?
Could be some of it. Or that's with that, the infrastructure bill that the federal government passed last year. So that's all federal dollars.
Okay.
So that's the main thing. Yeah, I'm looking over some of the other, at least we didn't get cut, which is good. That's always not good going into session. But one of the other members that got appointed to the House Appropriations Committee, I'll just mention, is Chris Sanders, for those of you that live around Lone Jack. If you remember, he's the one that threw a fit outside the Kansas City rep last year because he did not have proof of vaccination and would not wear a mask and refused to leave because he didn't have a negative COVID test with him. And so he's really been after the arts and our budget. And so he's on the subcommittee that will decide our budget. So we've got some challenges there on working with some of those folks, but we can do it. I got faith, just hefty challenges to get over. But we'll send that list out of everybody on there and just could really use everybody's help in weighing in.
All right. Do we have any last minute questions before we wrap up here? No. All right. Well, thank you all so much for joining us. Be looking out in your email to get this recording and the slides and all of those additional details that we will be sharing. And we look forward to seeing you in Jefferson City.
Okay. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
See everybody on the 8th.